Light red zone day at Hallis Hall before the rain moved in, and it is now raining, but it was another dry practice, at least this morning. We were there. It was open to fans. We're going to break it all down for you. Also heard from Caleb Williams. CHGO Bears starts right now. What's up? Welcome in CHGO Bears Podcast, another training camp edition. CHGO training camp coverage powered by Circus Sports Illinois. Download your new bookie today at circusports.com. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. What's going on? Adam Hoge, Mark Carman, and apparently Greg Bragg's joining us for the whole show, even though he only told me 30 minutes. But that he was there. This is good. Welcome in, everybody.
Hey, Greg, how are you? Are you dry?
I'm good. Yeah, I beat the rain because now we got thunderstorms outside my house. Sounds like thunderstorms by Steven. So good call to beat the traffic and the rain.
Did the poncho work out for you?
No, I never got one. 2 weeks in a row, I've requested something from one Mark Carman, and simple tasks, simple asks. And the great teammate that Mark Carman is, he wouldn't oblige.
Yeah, so today it was clearly not going to rain. I had looked at the weather forecast, and this neurotic person by the name of Gregory P. Allen Braggs texted me, "Hey, I need $10 from you so I can buy a poncho." And I said, "What are you talking about? It's not going to rain." And then he hung up the phone and then proceeded to tweet about how I'm a bad teammate. Meanwhile, I've asked this guy for a ride to the train about 100 times, and I've gotten about 3 rides. That's a 5-minute ride. The other day I said, I'm happy to give you a ride, but you got to come with me because Poppy the puppy needed a walk. And he's like, I'm not coming with you. I'm like, well, I'm not driving 30 minutes out of my way to go to Hawthorne Mall and back for you. And now he's paying me for that. So the real culprit, the real pain in the ass is the guy that didn't want to even hang out with his friends today and do the show live because he wanted to beat the traffic and beat the rain. And we miss you, buddy. We wish you were here.
Whatever helps you sleep at night.
I sleep good.
Are you guys done?
We know that.
Yeah, it's a big day today. Caleb, hey, pause. Everybody, ready? Caleb is making positive steps. Caleb looks good. Hogue, tell me, why don't you get into what your best so we can live the dream together.
Yeah, we'll get in our best and worst. What matters most? The best for me today wasn't so much something we saw on the field. Today was a light practice. There's a couple things we can bring up, but there wasn't a ton to pull out of this one. It had more to do with what we heard after practice in the press conference and just Dennis Allen's overall confidence in this defense. I guess we don't know Dennis great yet. I don't know how he's going to handle things when things are struggling or whatever, but it sure comes off as genuine. He hasn't been afraid to say when things need to be better, and he didn't shy away from the fact that he was not feeling 1,000% great about things coming out of the spring, but he's like, no, pass rush has been good. The coverage has gotten stickier. That doesn't really seem to be any issues, and it matches what I'm seeing on the field. Because I'm not really seeing any glaring problems. Don't have Jalen Johnson out there. Yet somebody like Nashawn Wright has stepped up and looked pretty good to the point where I'm like, Tyreek Stevenson might be looking over his shoulder for when Jalen Johnson comes back, because DA said it's a wide open competition right now at the 2 spot.
He sure did.
So just in general, Dennis Allen, his demeanor, he seems like he's a no business guy. And I think that it's defense, it fits his defense because there's a lot of guys like Grady Jarrett, Kevin Byard, Tremaine Edmonds, TJ Edwards. I can go on and on and on that I would describe very similarly. Like they just want to show up, play ball, play well, not talk a whole lot. It's not across the board, but I think it fits a lot a lot of these guys are good fits with Dennis Allen, both schematically and from a mentality standpoint. So just that overall confidence from the defensive coordinator was my best. My worst was, and Steven, I'll tee this up for you, but there was a moment right after Tremaine Edmonds spoke to the media today. Carm came in back to his cubicle next to mine in the meeting room, and he was like, all right, I'm going to cut some things up. And I said, well, you know what, buddy? It actually looks like it's about to rain. So why don't we go to our cars?
Going down again here, Gregory. You're going to like this one.
And I start packing my stuff up, and I'm like, in the middle of packing, and I look over, and Carm's not even like rushing out. He's just sort of like wandering like a homeless person out of the media room, like seemingly unaware of the fact that I'm also leaving when I just told him I'm leaving. And he just disappears. He just disappears. And we actually, Steven, let's roll the tape here. We actually have some footage where he's just walking like 50 yards ahead of me with Herb Howard. Just left me in the dust, Greg. And then we had to zoom in on whatever that's happening near the feed. So, yeah, rough exit for Carm, rough day for Carm. That was my worst of the day.
None of it's a surprise.
With the worst day. What's up, Greg?
I said none of this is a surprise. Okay,
Yeah.
Carm's a me guy. You know, simple asks for his friends, like wait for me, walk with me.
Greg, this wasn't even like a me guy thing. It was just a total lack of awareness. It was. I even asked. I walked out, and Matt Zahn standing there by the door. I go, did Carm go this way? And he's like, I haven't seen him. And then
Shout out Matt Zahn.
I come around the corner, and he's
CBS.
just walking. At first, you were like 100 yards ahead of me. You guys were walking slow. By the time we got to the parking lot, I caught up with you.
So, let me explain that in a second. But my best today was me. Because I was incredible. No, my best today was 18, was Caleb Williams. I spent an inordinate amount of time watching Caleb Williams today, to who Hoge is now showing me on the stats that he was 4 for 11, and that's fine. That's absolutely true that he didn't complete a ton of passes, but he completed some passes. And I'm telling you, his process getting in and out of that damn ass huddle is 7,000 times better than it was.
That's true.
It looks so much better. They had a couple false starts today. It wasn't perfect, but I'm telling you, it looks better. He looks way more grounded to me. And his press conference today, I know no one cares about press conferences, and I barely care about press conferences, but his press conferences last year were so damn bad with the ums that it was painful. He was better today. It was like a grounded Caleb up there. He seems more confident to me. He seems settled in. I think it's a big deal. So yeah, the completions still need to jump up a little bit here, but I'm telling you, the dude's making progress. I think he feels more comfortable in the offense. So I'm shouting out Caleb as my best today. My worst today, we'll stick with the theme. My worst today is that guy who left us, and I walked ahead of you. This guy blazed out of there in his car, went 2.5 hours back home because he didn't want to hang out with us and be at the show when he drives 2 hours to get here, and he harasses me about a poncho. He's bringing up a ride that I offered him that he turned down, and just causing utter stress to the point that I had to I lost focus at practice. That's on me because I'm thinking about him. So my worst today is the dumpster fire that is Gregory P. Allen Braggs and his brilliance. So there. Now let me explain something to you. I did have you in my thoughts, and I knew you were coming, but Herb Howard was ahead of me. And Herb asked some great questions today, particularly about the dime package that Dennis Allen was walking and is working with. And Herb is a football coach in addition to a media guy. So I wanted to pick his brain about the dime package. So I said, Herb. And then he stopped, and then we walked and we talked, and I got a lot of insight. Now you, Hoge, you could have been like, Carm, Herb, and then we would have stopped, and it would have been even more fun. Instead, you came up and whacked me on my leg with your Hoge umbrella, and and walk behind me like that. So that's on you. You missed a great combo with me and her, but I should have been like, you know what I should have done? I should have said, Herb, let's wait for Hoge because he's coming because I want to have that conversation with him too. So that's on me. My bad. But I got Herb excited. And, you know, I'm not going to apologize for being Herb excited, but you're right. I kind of left you in the dust, but it was an important conversation to have. I wanted to get someone else's perspective, which would help us with the show, which Herb is doing with the dime package and all the things. So we'll get into that at some point here as we talk about Dennis Allen's defense. So I had the show in mind. How's that?
That was a long-winded way of talking yourself out of whatever. I don't even know anymore. Greg.
No, that's like the trick, right? Just say a bunch of words, make everyone's head spin, and then we'll forget.
You don't know that
where
one.
this all started, and it's crazy. Like, I would like to apologize to everyone for the last 5 minutes of this show because that was a whole bunch of nonsense. My best, obviously, there wasn't much to take away from a slow practice. You know, they didn't do too much light work after a really physical day in full pads and live hitting yesterday in the humidity. And so for me, Luther Burden, the catch, you know, at the back of the end zone where he goes up and snatches it, you know, I don't think he got both feet in bounds, but regardless of the fact that he didn't, you saw the talent on full display in that play. Great
underline.
Yeah, it was great. And it's a step forward from yesterday, right? Where he gets pulled out of the huddle by Ben Johnson because of a line of scrimmage mistake. And so, you know, that's what you ask for from him and the rookies, Colson Loveland, Ozzie Trapillo, and so on and so forth. And you saw that step. It's a little step forward. It was a nice catch, gave the fans something to cheer about. He had one earlier in practice that, you know, again, light work, but he gets a catch over the middle. He scampers his way into the end zone. But if you watch the route, you know, he put a nice little move on Kyler Gordon in the slot. And that to me shows, you know, that quick twitch ability. He showed his hands today, and he just overall just had a solid day of practice. He, you know, went out there and did his job. And that's great to see here as he's starting to ramp up for himself. There isn't much to take away, you know, like pulling at strings, you know, trying to come up with worst. I could go on a 7-minute diatribe about Mark Carman being my worst, but we'll save that. I mean,
you know, I would argue that your best being an incomplete pass is the worst.
That's not great. You could mention that Braxton Jones, Jonah Jackson weren't practicing today.
Yeah, but this is my best and worst, so I could do those things, but I'm going to choose to do what I want with my best and worst. Thank you very much. There. And so my worst probably, if I wanted to be picky, you know, they've had 2 days straight of padded practice, and yesterday was certainly hard. Today they were in shells, and it was a light practice. So not only was it a light practice, but it was a short practice. They didn't even start doing anything until 40 minutes into practice. And then they only did things for 40 more minutes. That was like, it was, I mean, I don't think they practiced for an hour, like true practice, maybe 40 minutes today. And so from the CBA rules, this isn't, you know, back in the day with Briggs and Azumo had 26 straight days of two-a-days. I get it. It's not like that anymore. But with the CBA rules, you only have so much time to work on these things. And so you have an opportunity to go out there today and do that, and to only spend, you know, after they're stretching and that stuff, only spend 40, 45 minutes putting stuff in. It just, honestly, you know, I'm not going to call it a waste of time, but you could have probably got more out of your day. That's all I'm saying. From, if I'm really going to nitpick from a worst, you could have put a little more time in today. If I'm going to go after Eberflus last year, when we talked about them not doing anything for an hour and 20 minutes, well, today, quite frankly, they didn't do anything for an hour and 20 minutes.
Yeah, but that was every day.
That was 100%. That was every day with Eberflus. Correct.
Yeah. So, and Herb Howard now chiming into the conversation. He says, we did have a great combo, Carm, but don't throw me into this thing with you leaving Hoge. I utilize Hoge's prestige to go anywhere on that campus at House Hall.
Which was another thing we should talk about, because, you know, when we leave practice, shout out Herb Howard, the brilliance that is Herb Howard. You know, they stop us with, as we're trying to get to the media room and the press conference are happening. So not trying to be big time media guys, but like it can happen very quickly. So we got to get back there, or else you're going to miss something. And sometimes you get caught behind the ropes because the Bears are headed back to the locker room. Herb Howard's strategy was to scream out today, Adam Hoge coming through, and they dropped the ropes to let him through because he said he was Hoge.
And the best part of that was the actual Adam Hoge was just standing there patiently waiting. And then I got to go through.
He used Hoge to get through. This guy is, not only does he understand the dime package and the problems with not having TJ Edwards on the field, but he understands when to use Hoge.
I told him I'm going to have to try that tomorrow. I've never tried that. That was over my head.
You need to say, I'm coming through. I'm Hoge.
I'm going to try. I'm Greg.
Bragg's coming through. Bragg's coming through. We should try that out. You try that out and see if Carm works too. Denied and denied.
All right. Well, here's what I'll say real quick on the practice thing. When I first heard there was not going to be pads today, like Greg, I was kind of disappointed. I thought they could go 3 days in a row. However, for what I understand, pads will be on tomorrow. It'll be a longer practice. I think we're going to see more live tackling. And so if that's truly the case, then I understand why they threw in a little bit of a shorter, somewhat of a rest day in there before Friday's off day. And that would, when you kind of think about it that way, I think you could expect some fireworks tomorrow. The temperature is going to be lower tomorrow. It's supposed to be a nice day, sunny once all this rain passes overnight. So I think tomorrow's going to be a fun one, and hopefully they'll make up for the fact that, today was a little, but you are going to have some shorter, softer days throughout camp. And the last 2 days were hot and pretty grueling.
Plus today it might have rained and the Bears didn't have their ponchos ready. So they needed to shorten up practice just to be safe.
That's true. All right, coming up, we're going to hear from Caleb Williams. That is what matters most today. Caleb talked to the media. We're going to play some of that for you, some interesting conversation with QB1. But first,
shout out to our friends at Sunnyside Cannabis Dispensary. Oh, you love yourself some Sunnyside. And if you don't know that, then get involved. It's the place where it's judgment-free cannabis shopping. They are there. If you're starting out, they are there. If you're an expert, they've got the good news. They've got the Mindy's. These are elite brands to go after. If you're a pro, they've got 100 strains on the menu. New ones are added daily, expertly curated. Wellness advisor staff picks collection in there. If you need a little bit of guidance, what do they like? They will tell you. You got it all. You got what you need. They love the Cresco. They love the Florical for incredible quality. Visit sunnyside.shop for bright buys every day, including 50% off your first 3 online purchases. Enter the promo code HICHGO at checkout to qualify. Exclusions apply. Sunnyside Cannabis Dispensary. Bright buys every day, only for 21 and older or Illinois medical card holders. For existing users, use that promo code CHGO50. You get 50% off one Cresco Labs brand item.
And just like your favorite team needs a home field advantage, your home needs a home floor advantage. And Empire Today can help you get exactly that. And maybe they can also help Carm get his headphones out of his ears when he doesn't need to be wearing them. Empire Today has flooring experts.
Good point.
Dedicated flooring professionals. They focus on flooring every single day, not other things. You've been to those big box stores. You wander all those aisles. Then you're hauling all the materials home yourselves. You're looking for an installer. You're coordinating everything. You don't want to do all that. Empire Today is your best bet for a new floor because they live and breathe flooring. They're going to pick the right flooring and the right colors for your space so you can see how it looks in your house with your furniture. Schedule a free in-home estimate today because some things are just better at home. CHGO listeners can receive a $350 discount when using promo code CHGO. You heard that right. $350 off. Code CHGO. Restrictions apply. Visit empiretoday.com/CHGO for full details. All right. So while it was a lighter practice at ALLCITY, at least it was a Caleb Williams day. He spoke for the second time at training camp, first time since report day. So the first time since we've actually seen him practice in camp, and 7 practices in, plenty to go off of. One of the things I noticed today, well, I've been noticing this throughout camp, but especially today too, is when they were in the red zone, there has been an effort to get out of the huddle quickly. And what I mean by that specifically is, so when they break that huddle, you see guys sprinting to their spots on the line of scrimmage. This has been going on throughout camp. It's been very noticeable. And so I asked Caleb about that today, and really what's the whole point of that?
Sense of urgency to get out of the huddle and get lined up.
Yep.
Like even just the way you guys burst out of the huddle and get lined up. In what ways are you hoping that that'll help you at the line of scrimmage, but also help the entire offense?
It helps everybody. One, it adds a sense of, what our mentality is, getting out the huddle, getting on the ball, and we're going to attack you. So that's the first part. The next part is getting out there, lining up with that mentality, and then after that, it's it gives the center, it gives me, it gives the tackle, it gives the wide receiver to be able to see the technique of the DB. It gives the O lineman to be able to see, are we gonna double team to this backer? We're gonna push it, or are we gonna do this and that? And for me, it allows me to maybe re-mic it. It allows me to be able to grasp maybe what they're about to do. Maybe they may rotate, but have an idea off of whoever, their alignment, their depth, their leverage, and, things like that. So, being able to have as much time on the clock, it only helps us.
I could give you a list of 10 other reasons too why this is a really, really good thing for the Chicago Bears. Starting with, if they get to the line of scrimmage with like 20 seconds or so still left on the play clock, Ben can still talk in his ear up until the 15-second mark. So you can also get some extra coaching there from what they're seeing, potentially even relayed from upstairs if there's enough time to go from A to B to C into Caleb's helmet. You can quick snap, which we've seen a couple times. We've seen them come running out of the huddle, and instead of doing all that stuff Caleb just talked about, looking at the mic point and making this check and this and that and putting guys in, nope, just snap the ball, go. And keep the defense on their heels. And then also all those things that Caleb said. And the more you get in sync, the more you get that chemistry. We also heard Caleb talk about some hand signals to wide receivers and things like that they've started to do. So but in order to get all of that going, the play call has to come in fast. So actually, let me back up even more. The previous play, you got to get off your ass and you got to be ready for the next play.
Right.
You got to get your substitutions in and out quickly. You got to get into that huddle quickly. The play call's got to come in, and it's got to be relayed by Caleb. And while we have seen improvement, we did see one moment today where there was a delay of game. And Carm, you might remember this because you had actually just commented how things were looking better. And in the middle of him calling the play in the huddle, all of a sudden you heard me go, uh-oh.
Right.
Because I could tell he needed the play call again, or at least he needed to restart the play call out of his own voice. And then they got to the line of scrimmage. There was only 8 seconds on the play clock. He tried to make a check. He tried to put somebody in motion. He tried to do a hand signal, and then there was a delay of game. So this is all great. I think it's a really, really good development, but it's also not as easy as it sounds because there's a lot that goes into this from starting from the previous play, and you have to be in sync across the board, well coached with great execution.
So it started in 11 on 11s. The first 3 plays looked as good as 3 plays have looked. You had a completion to DJ Moore. You had a couple other completions. I forget to who. Maybe you wrote them down. I did not. That's on me. But then the 4th play was the delay of game that you're talking about.
So when DJ Moore, Olamide Zaccheaus, and Luther Burden.
Right. And then you had the delay. And credit to Hoge, you started to say play clock 8, play clock 4, play clock 1, delay a game. That wasn't great. So it almost was like, to me, it's like, okay, you got these 3 down. Let's throw a little bit more higher degree of difficulty at you and see if you could handle it. And it didn't happen. But what I like about it is that he is getting better at the basics here, and they are upping. Then at least to me, okay, let's throw you an extra little motion in or something else, and let's see if you can. Okay, you didn't, but like hopefully that's a great teaching point. You could just see the progress of him doing it. It's pretty obvious. I don't know, Greg, do you agree? Disagree? Where are you at on all this?
Yeah, I mean, you don't like to see the penalties, and I know I think third team in that same first team series had a penalty at the line of scrimmage as well. So I'm not sure if that was a delay of game or not, but they had started to clean that stuff up. It's going to happen. It'll happen in the regular season too. But at the same time, I just think, one of the things when you talk about the delay of game, trying to get a call in or make a check, at one point, Caleb Williams said during the press conference that there are just a lot of words within some of this, language in Ben Johnson's offense. And I think, where Caleb Williams is not just getting the kitchen sink thrown at him in terms of what he has to do on the field, but in the room studying all this stuff at his house, and so I think that's going to be the biggest challenge, is trying to, because at one point Caleb said, I take pride in trying to know all of this, and that might not be realistic. There's a lot there, and you look at the Detroit Lions offense, that took years to get to. Certainly you want to strive to, get as much as you can in here, but it's just going to be a lot to do. And then even when you saw yesterday, when you talk about getting to the line of scrimmage quickly, it's not just on the quarterback, it's on every player on that team. Yesterday, Luther Burden, kind of lollygagging back to the line of scrimmage, as Hoge outlined yesterday, that causes, everything to slow down a tick. So, and then overall, I think my biggest takeaway about this is it's just nice to have competent coaching, because this stuff is like, I'm not trying to downplay it but at the same time, this is what everyone should be doing. This is what all teams around the league, and this is why the Chicago Bears haven't entered the new generation of football that actually scores points, because we've never had a coaching staff instill this stuff as a standard. And now we're sitting here like looking at very simple offensive foundational rules, and we're like, wow, this is amazing. But at the same time, this is what you should be doing. So I'm glad they're getting it.
Right. It's not new. Of course, anybody, you're going to want your team to huddle up and get out of the huddle, get to the line of scrimmage, and give yourself the advantage to have time up there. But it is new, to your point, in how it's being coached better, that it's actually landing in ways that it hasn't in the past.
Right. That's the coaching, but it's also the execution, because you have to have a quarterback and players that can handle all that, and have the hustle to get ready to go, get the substitutions. You got to have everybody on the sideline ready to go in, because that happens too. Sometimes you call different personnel and you got somebody who's not paying attention over there, and then that causes a delay. So there's a lot to go into it, and if not everybody's on the same page, it's a problem. Now,
how many times have you seen over the last few years the Bears have to burn a timeout in the first half?
Yeah. And we don't know if that's still going to be a problem. I'm encouraged by the fact that it shouldn't be.
They ain't there yet.
But until we see all this executed on game day, we're still kind of guessing. But right after that question and answer, Carm jumped in with his own question, and here's how that went down.
He talked about yesterday that he likes what you're doing behind the scenes, how it's helping you, and then he's also gotten on you on the field. Like, just both sides of that, just knowing what you're going to get, that it's sort of almost unpredictable. Does that help you almost maybe trust
unpredictable?
Well, if he not maybe unpredictable is the wrong word, but like that he'll praise you, or he'll say like he knows better here, like he just gives you both sides.
No, it's great. You want the good. To hear from, you're in here so often, so much, so long, going over these details, trying to figure it all out. And you just, if it looks good, you want to know, because you want to keep doing it over and over. You want to keep doing that same, not be a light switch. You want to do the same thing over and over and over if it's good. And so that little bit of, that was a good rep, that this and that, whether it's, a pass and you're getting through your reads, or you're taking the first read, good ball placement, you just want to keep doing that same thing and over and over again. And, obviously if it's bad, you want to hear that too, because you want to go out there and be able to execute and run it exactly how the coach wants it. And, that's what we're striving for.
Carm, you want to take it out of that?
Well, yeah. I mean, look, what I was trying to get at there, and I thought he actually gave a very good answer. Look, Matt Eberflus was not going to say anything negative to him. And so sometimes you just don't know where you're at. With Ben, it's pretty damn ass clear where you're at. If he likes it, he's up there giving him love and propping him. And if he doesn't like it, he's pulling him off the field. So I just think it helps build trust between the player and the coach, because he's not just going to put flowers up his butt all day long and then be talking about him in behind the scenes, like this guy doesn't have it or whatever. Here it just feels a little bit more direct with Ben, which I think just helps the trust factor. And unpredictable was the wrong word. It was just more like honest or whatever, that it just depends on how you do it. And so I think that Ben is making strides with him because of his honesty and because of his directness.
Yeah, I think you're feeling that across the board too. I think it's not just with Caleb.
For sure.
But with everybody. And that's a good opportunity to remind everybody about the story that Johnsy had come out yesterday, his first big feature with CHGO, because he talked to guys like Durham Smythe and others who have played for him in the past, and that is exactly how they describe Ben Johnson. That he's going to call it how it is, good and bad, and it creates a level of credibility with the praise and the criticism. And I think it's we talked about this on yesterday's show. I think it's carrying over to us in the media and the fans, because you believe it. You believe the praise when he's also willing to say, yeah, Luther Burden missed a lot of time. He's behind and we had a problem and walk through, and then I'm going to go yell at him on the practice field now when he screws up again. So it's like you just trust it.
Big fans, he'll give it to you straight. I also thought it was interesting that we're in here all the damn time. If I do something right, I don't want to just get beaten up over the head all the time. Like you say, like that was great. It actually, it feels good. People like to hear positive things from their bosses. Go ahead, Greg.
Well, you said, Hoge, you said trust. And that's exactly what it is. Like, people want to say, oh, Lovie Smith was a player's coach. It doesn't help you to be a player's coach if the player doesn't trust you to get the most out of their career. Right. I always point to, Matt Painter's the person I always draw to when we're talking about this kind of stuff, because I'm able to get close to that, program and see how he handles things there. He is beloved by his players, but at no point does Matt Painter sugarcoat things for his players ever. But each player there trusts him because they know he's putting them in the best position to succeed. And so, there's a few different ways to go about it. And, I think when you're early in your tenure, the tendency is to try to get everyone to like you. But really what you need to do is make sure they earn your trust and respect, because really these guys, this is a business and they're trying to get the most out of their careers. If you can't do that, then they're never going to like you. And so that's what I think Ben Johnson is going to hopefully track to.
All right, we got to take a timeout here. We got one more clip from Caleb coming up about the under center topic, which has been a big one, and he acknowledged that today. We're also going to hear from Dennis Allen because he talked to the media, and we'll take some of your diehard questions as well. But first, hey, finances can be messy. They can be confusing. That's why you need Monarch Money, because Monarch Money acts like your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control so you can stop earning and start growing. You can categorize pretty much everything you spend. Yes, Gregory, even those golf expenses, you can categorize that. You'll know exactly how much you're spending on golf.
Shout out, Jenny.
Whatever it is, the rest of the month, every month. And, it's more than just your average budgeting app. Monarch Money is a complete financial command center for your accounts, investments, and goals. Don't just manage your money. Start building wealth with 50% off your first year for our listeners here at CHGO Bears. Look, it was named the Wall Street Journal's best budgeting app of 2025. It's got over 30,000 five-star reviews. So get control of your overall finances with Monarch Money. Use code CHGO at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com with code CHGO.
Shout out to our friends at Circa Sports Illinois. That is the app to bet on. It is the best app. It is Circa Sports. It's betting the way it should be. We love our friends at Circa Sports. What up, Derek Steven? Hey, bet on all your favorite teams. Every game this season. Spreads, props, futures, in-game. Circa Sports has it. All the good things. Take the over on Colston Loveland. Do it at Circa. That's what I'm going to do. And also on my guy. Looked awesome today. DeAndre Swift, 825.5 on the season. Make that bet at Circa Sports right now. Fun to bet like a pro from anywhere, anytime in Illinois. Download your new bookie today at circasports.com. Circasports.com. You do have to be 21 or older. Gambling problem, call yourself 1-800-GAMBLER. All your favorite teams, every game, all season long. Bears, maybe even take the over. Circa Sports Illinois.
All right, practice number 7 in the books. We got more coming up, but we also, Greg, need to acknowledge our guys, Cards from the Vault.
That's right.
It's our new segment, Cards from the Vault, which is sponsored by Arena Club.
That's right. Shout out to those guys. They've been a lot of fun. And once again, you can get 20% off your first slab pack or card purchase by going to arenaclub.com/CHGO and use the code CHGO. And if you're not familiar with this website, I encourage all of you to hit it up, especially if you enjoy, trading cards and stuff. This is all digital and it goes right into your bank. It's a good way to, feed that, hobby and honestly a way to make some money in your pocket as well. So I'm going to open this pack. Just a couple weeks ago, we pulled the Sandberg card, and that's certainly apropos, as we all celebrate the life of Ryan Sandberg right now. So we're going to open one up. I did $100 gold pack for football, and hopefully it's not Jackson Dart like the last time we get. So I'm going to open it right now, and we're going to see what we got as the Arena Club slab pack gold pack reveal is Brock Bowers.
Ooh.
2024 Prism in mint condition. So shout out to Arena Club. We appreciate them. I appreciate that very much. So Brock Bowers. Hopefully Holston Loveland can play like Brock Bowers.
Come with us to Vegas and hang out and see Brock Bowers. TrueFanTravel.com. What's up?
Hopefully not too much of Brock Bowers.
No, we'll see him just get blasted.
Yeah. I think I saw Peck pulled a Caitlin Clark rookie card or something.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Okay, Peck. Okay, money.
Pretty sure I saw that. Or I just made it up. One of the two. So
No, stick with it. That's exactly what happened. All good.
I'm pretty sure I did. I think it was on social media. All right. We had one more Caleb Williams cut. Then we're going to move over to the defense, and which we started the show talking about. We heard from Dennis Allen today. But the under center stuff. So, it's been a storyline. Caleb, he's been a shotgun quarterback most of his career. He's learning this under center stuff. Ben Johnson wants to run more play action, true play action from under center. And Caleb was asked about that today.
There hasn't really been a challenge for me under center. I know that's been a big thing. But there hasn't really been a challenge. It's just been, gaining the knowledge, how, the footwork, where we need to be, the landmarks of the running back, the landmark for me, when I set up or when I'm rolling out or anything like that. So it's just been, practicing the technique. And so what I like about it, you get hard sell actions, backers biting, safety's eyes get, crisscross with different motions and things like that. And, it provides, the defense actually identifies it differently from when you're a gun, back offset and things like that. So it's a bunch of small, minute things that end up mattering. And, you end up having guys running free, or you end up having great leverage on a safety or things like that. So it's helpful. It's going to be a part of us for a long time.
Yeah, I think it will be. And it's just a matter of how quickly Caleb gets used to all that stuff he was talking about there. I understand him trying to downplay the challenge of it, but everything he listed after that, it is a challenge. This is a challenge. It's not just for him. This is one of the downsides of what college football has become really in the last 20 years, probably especially in the last 10 years. And I get why it has become that. But, it's hard to learn new things in the NFL. Ideally, you'd like to get more. There's your headphones again. I don't know why they're in your ear again.
It's just keep going. I'm sorry. It was just very weird that I continue to do that. It's a nervous habit officially.
Okay, there it is. I thought you were listening to like a different.
I think I might have been listening to
the podcast you did the other day while we're doing this one.
Maybe Fox 32. I'm not sure. Yeah. Shout out to them for having me on their
listening to it. Voice text to Mark Grody.
That was always
there's a good one a couple days ago. Hey,
that was always a Steve Cochran joke, by the way. If he'd catch you not listening, he'd be like, "What are you listening to Eric and Kathy over there?"
Yeah, well, right. Yeah.
Now I totally lost my train. No, my point is like, ideally, whatever it is, but especially something that to me in the NFL is still so necessary to learn under center technique in the NFL as opposed to learning at the high school level or the college level at a high level of play. It sets you back a little bit. It becomes more of a challenge. And so, but when you look at what I'm going to go to Jared Goff a lot when we talk about this, but Jared Goff was the same way coming out of Cal, his first few years in the NFL. And now that's what they do. That's what he does. That's what he did with Ben Johnson. And so it's not going to be overnight here for Caleb Williams, but I think he's going to learn to love it, because the things that he listed there in that answer, that where it really helps you once you start to nail it, and the advantages it can give you. Once you get comfortable with it, once you rep it more, you're going to learn that it's an advantage to you. And I think that's eventually going to happen with Caleb.
Well, and I believe, I mean, when you talk about, where you're pointing to Jared Goff, well, what about Case Keenum out of Houston, right? I'm pretty sure they were in the shotgun quite a bit coming out of college. And
he was in a true air raid offense,
right?
Out of Houston, yeah.
So, but now that he's been around the block in the NFL for a lot of different teams, that's why it was so important to bring him into this room to help Caleb Williams adjust to things, just like Case Keenum had to do, Jared Goff had to do, and many other quarterbacks, because as you said, it's just kind of the way the college system is now. So,
Bajan's doing it too.
Yep. Bajan's doing it too. So, getting your head turned around. I know somebody in the chat pointed out, like, he did this in high school. Well, the coverages you're looking at are a lot different.
And the speed.
The complex.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got safeties rotating on you, and your head's turned sometimes while that's happening. I mean, week 1, you're playing the Vikings and Josh Metellus, who you don't know where Brian Flores is going to have him on the field. And when your head's turned, you don't know where he's going to end up after that. So that's the challenge. And Caleb Williams trying to master all of that is going to be of the utmost importance.
I mean, I like that he is competitive with what he can and can't do. You all making a big deal out of me in under center. I never looked at it that way. I like that he has confidence. So you think I can't play under center? You're out of your mind. I also would say that he's not really acknowledging what a challenge it actually is for him to do what all they're doing, because he hasn't done it a lot. No one's saying that he can't do it. It's more just the experience of doing it, which takes time to become a master of anything, especially being under center in the NFL, going against NFL players. Not easy to do. He's got a lot on his plate that he hasn't had in the past. So he's getting better at it. I like that he believes in himself, but there was like 2 parts of that to me. Like, I like your confidence, and you're kind of not acknowledging what's so. It would have been totally fine with me to say, this is a big change for me. I'm adapting. I'm learning. I know I can do it, but it is going to take me a second to become as good as I want to be. Something along those lines.
Well, and he talked about, in play action under center, how it's going to help him create leverage with the linebackers and the safeties and try to get that extra step on a guy. And so that always brings me back to the 5-year argument I've had with some different people on Bears Twitter. And I even asked Ben Johnson about it at the podium at the combine, because it statistically and from the coach's standpoint, they say you do not need to be a good running team to be a successful play action team. And for me, that, like, as much as they show me the information and the way Ben Johnson explained it, like, will never fully make sense to me, because it just feels like once you show them that you're beating them on the run game, then all those domino effect of how the play action can suck the linebackers in, get the safety's eyes a certain way. But the way Ben Johnson describes it, you don't have to be a great run team to be a great play action team. So, who knows what the run game will make of it this year. I know people have their concerns, but they're still going to be able to implement the play action game regardless of that fact.
All right, let's transition to the defense here a little bit. I want to hear from Dennis Allen. I know we have a couple of cuts here, including I asked him about his philosophy on live tackling periods. We'll save that one for a second. I mentioned off the top my best of the day, though, just being, his general demeanor, his general confidence with this unit. It just comes off as very businesslike and positive. And I think it's genuine too. So let's hear a little bit from Dennis Allen.
We're giving them a lot of stuff. There's a ton for them to digest, but those guys are doing a really good job of understanding, what we're asking them to do. And then we're continuing to work on, how we have to do it, the way that we're going to play defense. And so I think that's what training camp's really all about. I mean, obviously there's an aspect of, understanding the scheme, but I think as much as anything, it's about just teaching them the way that we're going to play defense, the speed, the violence, the aggressiveness, how we're going to get up and challenge. I think that's been the biggest thing, and I've seen improvements in that regard. I think our coverage aspect, I think Ben mentioned this the other day in his press conference, but the coverage aspect has been a lot a lot more clean, a lot stickier than it was in the spring. So that's good to see, and that's a big part of what we do.
What do you think he means, Hoge, Braggs, when he says how we're going to do it? Because I don't have a great answer what it means. So I'm curious what you guys thought when he said that.
What do you mean? How they're going to do what?
Like,
how
is
they're
he
going to
talking?
play?
Yeah, like how are the, he's I'm assuming that he's still figuring out exactly what the strategy is going to be for the defense. Sort of like to the conversation that I was having with Herb Howard that he brought up today. Like, I see you in dime a lot, which takes out one of the linebackers. Like, and he said that might actually be a base defense for them at some point, where you'd have 6 defensive backs out there.
Well, I think it's different than the offense, a little bit. So I think with the offense, when you heard Ben Johnson come out like right away and just be like, I don't know if we're gonna be running gap scheme or wide zone. And so far from what I've seen, I think the wide zone stuff's look pretty good. So maybe they'll lean there, but I think there's a little bit more figuring out for Ben Johnson to do with the offense and what they do well, versus I think Dennis Allen has a pretty good sense of what the defensive guys do well. I think he's trying to learn how much he can get out of Kyler Gordon playing multiple positions, or Tremaine Edmonds playing multiple positions, experimenting with different sub packages. So instead of us talking about like the overall defensive philosophy, I think we're talking more specific sub packages that he might be able to do with more versatile players. Daniel Hardy, if we're going to get farther down the depth chart, is he a defensive end? Is he a linebacker? Is he both? Can you, it's players like that I think Dennis Allen is a little bit more open-minded to moving around, being more aggressive, taking some more chances with than the last defensive scheme and defensive coordinator. So that's where I think he's talking about when he's trying to still figure that out. But I think we know what they're going to be. I think they're going to be aggressive. I think there's going to be pressure. I think they're going to play a lot of man. I think in general, we know what they're going to be. It's just he's trying to figure out the versatility within what he already knows.
That makes sense.
Completely.
Gregory, anything?
Yep, no, I completely agree with Hoge when it comes to how they want to use Kyler Gordon this year. I think they're going to try to use him in a lot of different multifaceted ways. And I just brought up Josh Metellus a minute ago. Like, that's an example of a guy that you can have all over the football field. Kyler Gordon will put his head down and blow up a wide receiver screen. He can play you in coverage. He can get on the outside. Dennis Allen at one point randomly brought up that they might see how he looks at safety in the offseason. At one point, he did say that. And so, it'll be interesting to see how he uses Kyler Gordon as the wild card of this defense. I agree with Hoge there.
It was also an interesting moment with Dennis Allen today. Biggs asked him about, or he asked Tremaine Edmonds.
Well, let's hold that. We got to sneak in our last break here.
Okay.
And I got one more clip too from Dennis Allen on live periods of practice, which I think we're going to see more of tomorrow. But first, hey, Ray Chevrolet in Fox Lake, they're firing off those fireworks, still doing it. Big savings all month long. Come in today to shop the Freedom of Save sales event. Drive home with $10,000 off MSRP on new Chevrolet models, or you can check out their selection of over 125 vehicles priced under $20,000. They always have that for you. And as one of the top-selling Chevy dealers in the Midwest, they're able to keep their prices competitive, so you know that you'll get a great deal. Plus, raised price promise lets you shop confidently because the price you see is the price that you pay. Go see for yourself. Visit our partner at their convenient location right off of Route 12 in Fox Lake. And don't miss out on their Freedom to Save sales event going on all month long for $10,000 off MSRP on new Chevrolet models. And we found out from Ray yesterday, he's coming to Vegas. Yeah. Shop Ray Chevrolet in Fox Lake or at raychevrolet.com. You cannot miss it. Right off of Route 12 in Fox Lake.
And that's my turn now. Just thinking about Ray in Vegas and all the good things.
Just
and if
spaced out.
Yeah. And I was just all the things were going on in my mind, but I was also thinking about Bears and Raiders and how would I get tickets? Well, you'd get tickets using the Game Time app. Game Time tickets is the best way with the best value, last-minute tickets and zone deals. Hey, I'm willing to sit in these 3 sections, but I don't really care what my seat is. I want to pay less. They've got that for you. That's a beautiful thing. You're saving up to 60%, buying last minute for sports, for concerts, for comedy, for theater, all the good things. Fees are included, so you're going to know up front, no sticker shock at the end. I like that. Also, the lowest price guarantee. They'll credit you 110% of the difference if you find a better price somewhere else. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code CHGO, $20 off your first purchase. Again, you create that account, use that redeem code CHGO, $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed.
All right. We have a little bit more Dennis Allen sound to get to. We got your diehard questions to get to. And yes, for those asking, we will have a diehard practice report coming out too. ALLCITY.com. We had Pat pinch hitting for Johnsy again today. I think that's all maybe slightly delayed today only because the referees are the NFL referee crew is been at house all the last couple of days too. And I believe that they are meeting with reporters while we're doing this show. It was a devastating moment for those learning that I wasn't going to be in there.
You are good at that meeting.
I told them to bring their A game, you know?
Yeah. No, nobody talks to the refs like you talk to the refs.
Well, because nobody's a nerd like I am, and nobody cares the way I care.
What would be your question today, the referees? What?
You know, Pat actually just texted me, and I'm like, I don't have many this year. The rules.
Get in on the way they're using that. I think they need to move around the hashes. Something about the hash.
No. So the rules, the main rules are the touchback is different, 35, but it has nothing to do with the ref. I think the big referee change is that they can now, but again, it doesn't really have to do with the refs on the field. If there's a bad horse collar or face mask call, they can call from New York and get that erased.
Mm-hmm.
Now they can't add it. New York can't add a flag, but if like they call a face mask and they show a replay and there's no face mask, they can correct that immediately. So I don't know. It's just one of those weird years where I didn't have.
So you would have been worthless. It's good that you're here.
Instead, I'm worthless here instead.
Not true. Huge value. You're Hoge.
All right. Let's get to my question to Dennis Allen. So Dennis Allen was a head coach, obviously. And I don't know. I didn't cover the Saints. I have no idea how much he did live tackling in New Orleans, if any. So I asked him about that today since they are doing live tackling now here in Chicago with Ben Johnson.
You're a head coach. What was your philosophy on live periods of practice? It was something you guys.
You know, listen. I think it varies. I think it differs. With your team, whether it's a veteran team, whether it's a young team, first year in the program. As you get further into the program, I think every single one of those decisions that you make as a head coach, there's a lot of variables that go into it. I'm appreciative of the fact that we had a live period yesterday because that's the way the game's played. There's going to be blocking, tackling. Those are all elements that we've got to be able to execute, protecting the football offensively, those types of things. And so I think throughout the course of training camp, we'll see a few of those periods, and I think that's beneficial for both sides of the ball.
And I think we'll see at least one tomorrow, if not multiple.
Well, it's interesting what he said there, basically saying, like, look, we're a first-year coaching staff with a fairly young team. We better be hitting. That's how I'm hearing that. I followed up. We don't have the audio of it, but I followed up with Tremaine Edmonds just asking him about, like, that. Were you basically, was it instructed, go out and hit like it's game day? And he's like, well, not necessarily, but like that's just kind of where we're at right now. Because I mean, Chris Williams, we talked about this yesterday, the way he hit Kyle Monungai. I mean, that's what you would see on Sunday. And there was a ball across the middle yesterday where a couple of the backups, Jade Walker, got cracked by 33. So it was game speed, game intensity going on out there. And he's, Tremaine was just talking about how iron sharpens iron. And I mean, from, I think anybody who was at practice yesterday appreciated the level that the Bears were going to. I see Greg nodding. You're nodding your head, Greg.
Yeah. I mean, that was one of my questions when we were coming into camp. Like, what was he going to carry over from the Dan Campbell, stuff that was in Detroit? And when you watched Hard Knocks a few years ago with Detroit, you saw at one point Dan Campbell apologizing to his team because of how hard he was pushing them and promised them that it was going to be worth it in the long run. And so yesterday was day 6?
That's
and
right.
they were out there and guys were getting drilled. Like there was one guy on third team where there was a catch across the middle, and forgive me for not remembering the safety's name, but he decked him to the point where I would have thought that would have been a penalty because of the way he lowered his head on him. And that was at one point where it's like, all right, chill out, everyone. Because like before that, you had T.J. Edwards lay out DeAndre Swift in the backfield. We brought it up yesterday, but you had Chris Williams lay out Kyle Monungai, and Javon Dexter continues to set the tone. But like, I just go back to, my formative years of training camp watching in the Lovie Smith era down in Bourbonnais. And that is what yesterday felt like. And so that was the last time that was the last time we had a competent coaching staff. And that was the last time we had a successful team. And so I just loved seeing that and hope to see more of it tomorrow.
Yeah, it was Tysheem Johnson, the rookie out of Oregon, that had a big hit on fellow rookie Jade Walker.
It was nasty.
He stood up.
It was old school. You got jacked up.
Yeah, it was. And I even commented, I'm like, okay, and I don't even think that was in the live period. I think that was kind of if I had a problem with it, I don't think that was in the live period, but I could be wrong about that. Regardless, shout out to Kevin Fishman. We were talking about this today. He went through, because I was thinking yesterday that they did not do any live tackling under Matt Eberflus. I thought maybe it was first year, but then Kyler Gordon backed that up, and Kyler was there for all 3 years under Eberflus. He said they didn't do it, and Fish went back and looked and like transcripts, and he couldn't find any evidence that Matt Eberflus did it. He couldn't find any evidence that the Bears had done a live tackling period since 2018 with Matt Nagy, because there was comments in the 2020 offseason where Matt Nagy acknowledged, yeah, we did it in 18, we didn't do it in 19, and you saw what happened. So his intention was to do it again. Now, if I remember right, I don't think they were allowed to do any live hitting in the 2020 training camp, because remember, that was the COVID year when everything was squeezed into like 3 weeks and there were no preseason games. I could be wrong about that, but I don't think they were able to do any live there, and I don't know if they did it in 21. So the point is, of all that, not a whole lot of live periods going on with the Chicago Bears. This is a change of pace, and I think it's going to be more than just yesterday and tomorrow, but we'll have to see. I think there is a balance to it. You don't want to overdo it, but it is good to see right now.
Well, you have 2 joint practices coming up here very soon, right? Is that next Friday?
The 8th, and then the 15th, 16th,
the 8th and the 15th with the Dolphins and the Bills. And so that you're going to get some hitting in those practices. And so
I don't know if you go full live in those ones or not. That can get dangerous, but maybe.
Yeah, but I mean, they're going to be intense practices nonetheless. Yeah. So yeah, this is so far so good. And my next question will be, I was curious how he would handle training camp. We've seen that so far. Excited to see how it continues. But then how does he handle preseason? I know, I don't think that book is written yet. Let's get there. And I think Ben Johnson probably will assess it by the standard of where this team is at that point.
All right. I know we got some diehard questions, Greg. Why don't we start with one here before we hit overtime? And I don't know. Let's do like your best 5 or something like that.
Yeah, whatever's clever. Appreciate everybody in our Discord, taking part in this every single, for all these shows that we do. Andrew M. Diehard asking, give us a realistic take on Karan Amagaji this year. Has he looked like he could start?
I need to see more, but I do think he looks. I'll say this: he looks like he belongs in the competition. I haven't seen anything glaring that makes look. Last year it was glaring. It didn't take a trained offensive line expert to see that Karan Amagaji was not ready for the spotlight and was thrown in there. And really the Bears didn't do him any favors by putting him in the position that they did. he looks like he belongs in this competition right now. I don't know that anybody has stood out among the rest, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just been sort of a whatever back and forth so far to me.
Clay Harbor, who's been on this program, is doing great work, and Clay's just all around good guy. Knows exactly what he's looking at. He underlined to what you're talking about. Carman just looked like not an NFL player at all last year. Just awful. And however much work he's put in, Dan Rochar, whatever, he looks viable now. It'll be interesting tomorrow. We're supposed to hear from all three of the left tackles, so it'll be interesting to see what Carman will say about how he's gone so far here in the competition. But to your question, Andrew, realistic swing tackle, Carman Amagaji in the mix, and maybe somebody that could even slide over to guard.
And by the way, Braxton Jones was given a rest day today. If you missed that, Jonah Jackson apparently has a leg injury and is day to day. Become a diehard. Scan that QR code, allchgo.com. There's still time today, tomorrow to get that new offer. HoganJohns.com will take you right to that. Some great merch available, t-shirt and hat. Got a lot more coming up here as we hit overtime. All right, Bragsy, what else you got for us in terms of diehard questions?
Yeah, we got a few more here to roll through. Once again, appreciate everybody, joining in on this. If you want to become a diehard, you can get your questions in for this training camp. And as we go throughout the season, we'll certainly do some mailbag shows as well. McDougie asking, how do the DBs look in general, especially without Jalen? I know Dennis Allen kind of talked about this a little bit, right, guys?
Yeah, let's answer this one quickly because DA did talk about this. He thinks that they have got improved a lot since the spring. He called the coverage clean and sticky. Yeah, I've seen that. And I think Nahshon Wright, he was singled out. He singled out Nahshon Wright, and he also singled out Nick McLeod today, too. So those are two guys that Dennis Allen brought up on his own, not even asked about it.
McLeod's wearing number 24. I've seen him a ton. He played for the Giants. He was with the Niners last year. He's got some experience.
So, yeah, I mean, I think it's been good in the secondary so far, especially considering that Jalen Johnson isn't out there. I'll be honest with you, like, no knock at all on Jalen Johnson. I haven't noticed. I keep forgetting Jalen Johnson's not out there. That's just a good sign for the defense.
Yeah, a lot of moving parts, and it's also, I think, the offense just kind of getting off the ground here.
That was my thought. Is it a good thing or a bad thing? I know we're early into training camp, but to not have Jalen Johnson out there, and we're talking about how these guys are sticky on the wide receivers. Like maybe because I have an offensive bias because I've been dreaming of the day that the Bears have a great offensive, system and scoring a lot of points, but I'd like to see some separation from these guys. But I also think, to add on real quick, Nahshon Wright has a history with Al Harris back in Dallas. And then you look at the draft pick, help me out, Hoge, because I'm drawing a blank here. Zay Frazier is somebody that Al Harris was big on. So I think you're already seeing a little bit of an impact from who Al Harris, is advocating for and their opportunities they're having on this team.
Have you seen Zay Frazier make a play?
Zay Frazier's been
out.
hurt.
Yeah.
Personal.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right. That's right. That was a couple days ago. Yep, my bad.
Just talking more about, it sounds like Al Harris's recommendations to the coaching staff of guys they should bring in is, I think, something that they're listening to.
Next question.
Yes, sir. Chicago Bears for life. We haven't heard much about the return game so far. Is it Duvernay's job to lose, or is anyone challenging him?
Go ahead, Hoge.
I think it's wide open. I mean, I said to Carman in the middle of practice today, Devin Duvernay has not really stood out to me in any regard. And not even negatively either. Just number 12 hasn't popped out for me on offense or in the return game. They've definitely been doing more punt return drills to me to this point than kick return. Duvernay had a drop today, a muff punt in that drill. Torrey Taylor was hitting a lot of little funky spinners today for them today.
Yep.
And of note, because I made a big deal about this the other day and asked Richard Hightower about it, but JP Richardson was among the guys back there catching punts today. So that was good. You had Roma Dunze, Olamide Zacchaeus, Devin Duvernay. Now that Luther Burden's back to practice, he's back there too. By the way, he looked very natural catching those punts today, I thought. So it's just from my sort of trained special teams eye, you can kind of tell who's fighting the ball and who's not. Duvernay looked natural. JP Richardson looked very natural. And Josh Blackwell was back there too, and he's always intriguing in that role.
Yeah, Blackwell's been very serviceable back there. But if you're looking for the big excitement back there, you got me kind of geeked up on potentially using Luther Burden that way.
I like it. I like it. Look, he's a rookie. He's not going to have to be playing every offensive snap. They have insurance with Olamide Zacchaeus. I like the idea of putting Burden back there as long as he's trustworthy. First impression looks very natural doing it. I like it. Now, if he muffs a punt in a preseason game, he's fired.
That would not be good for Luther. All right, next up, Greggy.
Yes, sir. McDougie once again jumping in here saying, have you seen, we have a couple of these questions and I'll let Hoge answer because I kind of feel like I know where this is going, but I wanted to ask him anyway. So these guys can understand, kind of what we're allowed to say, but have you seen wide receivers line up in multiple positions, or has it mainly been OZ in the slot, Rome at the X, DJ at Z when he's not playing running back or wing?
That's what our diehards do. They'll go X, Y, Z right out of nowhere.
I mean, to be honest, the answer is both. I mean, yes, I think the roles have been clearly defined, but yes, we're seeing them line up. We've seen the tight ends line up all over too. Yes, there's a little bit of a restriction on what we can be specific about, but they just don't want us giving like specific snap counts of like, hey, this guy's lining up here this amount of time, but they're doing a little bit of everything, and yet the roles are also defined at the same time, if that makes sense.
Yep.
Yeah, I would just point out that the ball is being spread around to all the receivers. Luther Burden is getting catches. DJ's making plays. OZ is making plays. Tyler Scott had a great catch today that Hoge pointed out that I didn't see, that I'm excited about because I love myself some Tyler Scott. Like there's just, I don't think, in training camps past, it was, okay, Justin's throwing the ball to DJ, not, because that was the only guy that was getting open. It's more a equal opportunity right now, including Colston Loveland, obviously.
All right, I know we got to get going, so we'll do one more here. Let's pull up the Carm question so we can have some fun to finish, since he wanted to try to have fun with me. And Leader of Man says, any chance we can trade Carm to CHGO Bulls for a reporter to be named later? Well, I can start. Unfortunately, the CHGO Bulls team has a magnificent writer in Will Gottlieb. So, sometimes you got to find a team that, to trade with. It's hard to find a trade partner sometimes. And
yeah, there's no way the Bulls are making that trade.
No, they're not. To try to find a team that's going to want Carm's services, maybe harder to do than people realize. And I say that while our GM just jumped in the stream a minute ago. So
I think it's an excellent topic. I love the Bulls show. I love to contribute to those guys, and I, more specifically, would love to get away from Greg. But
Greg would like you to contribute to those guys too.
Yeah, but I'm not going anywhere because y'all need me, and this is my home. And so, whoever asked that question, I will meet you in the Discord channel. We will discuss in great detail the absurdity of what you just put out there and the fact that we just wasted 2 minutes on that. CHGO Bulls does not need my help either. They're doing
appreciate everybody else's comments. We'll try to save some for tomorrow, and we'll see if they can roll over. We're certainly not trying to, miss anybody's questions, but I know we got to get going here soon.
Yeah, Jake said Carm has a no trade clause.
Thank you, Jake.
Yeah,
so expertly negotiated by me.
I was gonna say, wow, how did you get a no trade clause?
Actually, I used Debbie Spander for that. She did a great job.
Super chats. What do we have, Steven? Joe Weir, $15 going to my first training camp tomorrow to help on my brother's food truck, the Curious Crow. Excited to see the Bears and fellow diehards.
Crow is I've stared at the Curious Crow and I thought about getting myself some.
We're gonna have to stop by the Curious Crow tomorrow and say hi to Joe.
Joe, we'll see you tomorrow, buddy. We're gonna crow it up. So done deal. That thing looks straight delicious. So
Carm's gonna finally eat crow.
Yeah, I've been doing that all
on
the show.
Next up,
by
David.
the way, if Crow was never mind. Go ahead.
Yeah. David writes $5. Dennis Allen was the Saints DC when they drafted Hendrickson all the way through Trey's move to Cincinnati in 2021. Do we know if they parted on good terms? Well, we know Hendrickson didn't really take off until he, sort of left New Orleans. It was a kind of a curious move in hindsight. They're regretting. By the way, Hendrickson's
he showed up at practice.
He showed up. So I
he didn't practice though. He's just there so he doesn't get fined.
So he's holding in. He's holding
in. He had a quote that he said nothing's changed in terms of their battle.
I'm going to keep repeating my message. Just I think it's a long shot to think Trey Hendrickson's going to be a Bear, and most importantly, everybody just needs to hope he doesn't become a Packer.
Fair. I feel zero. He's gonna be a Bengal. They'll figure it out. This is what Cincinnati does. They're incredibly annoying, and then they sign their players.
Yeah. Peanut Punch 33, $5. Hey, all, can't wait to see you in Vegas. Go Bears.
All right, Peanut Punch. Let's go. I'm not really racing to get there because the summer is the summer, but can't wait when it does get here.
I'm like trying to
slow this down.
Usually I'm like, I know we had another diehard question that was like, what's the worst part about training camp? And to me, I was just going to say the lack of games. Because at a certain point, you're just like, I want to see games. But this year, I'm actually like, thank you to TJ for that question. This year, I'm actually like, no, let's keep summer going. A little disappointed in the rain today. We were going to play golf. Seems like we're washed out there.
Honestly, to be a non-spoiled media member, there is nothing about training camp that I don't like. I love being able to get to see practice every single day. I love being able to get to ask questions. I love being able to hang out at Hoge Mansion here. So honestly, this is my favorite time of year. It sets the table for what's coming. I love training camp.
I like training camp too. All right, I think that's it. We did it, guys.
We did it.
A couple shout outs. They're Hogelicious. Chris and Blake. Those were the two amazing young children that were with George from Western Springs today, who was just dominating early on in the practice. Gave a nice hello. Appreciate that. And I think that
that's it. Just Chris and Blake.
No, there was
had a great day.
There was one more. Who would you give tickets to yesterday, Braggs? You Mr. Jonathan. Shout out to Jonathan who said hello yesterday. Jonathan, thank you. It's nice talking to you as well, my friend. Thank you for saying hi. All right. It's important. Damn it.
Yeah, I know. For sure. Everybody, shout out to everybody that stopped us. We always appreciate it. It means a lot.
All right, I'm not getting stopped enough. More people need to say hi to me. My ego needs a boost. Please say hi to me tomorrow. I'm losing it.
Just wear higher socks tomorrow, please.
I'm wearing orange socks tomorrow.
If you don't know what Carman looks like, I'm sure we can roll the tape again. Just look for the guy who's, walking like he has a fake Achilles injury and socks.
These are great socks.
Don't take your socks off.
These are great socks.
Oh my.
Now I'm even happier that I'm at home right now.
You can't see it, but on the bottom, there's little dimples here.
Yeah.
They're great.
You know who has those?
Elite athletes like me.
2-year-olds. Toddlers that slip in their socks. So they put the little
socks on and cover up those bunions.
What about my bunions?
Okay.
I'm wearing the orange ones tomorrow. Let's go.
Yeah, those are elderly socks. Those are elderly. Okay. It just doesn't smell. It doesn't smell as fresh in here as it did 30 seconds ago.
I showered yesterday.
Arm with the hospital socks.
Those are hospital socks. All right.
These were expensive, man. They were supposed to help my traction on my tennis game. Unfortunately, my Achilles is not allowing me to do it. So you all can stick it. These ain't no elderly socks. These are athlete socks.
Hit the like button, not for the socks, for the show. Please subscribe and become a diehard, ALLCITY.com. That diehard deal goes through to tomorrow. That t-shirt, that hat, if you want them, you can get them. And if you're already a diehard, you get your 20% merch discount and can buy those as well. But if you're looking to sign up, now is the best time. That's the best price you're going to get. And I highly recommend that Brandon Bills hat if you can afford it. It's great stuff. All right, we are out of here. We'll be back tomorrow. Practice number 8 tomorrow at Hallis Hall. Johnsy will be back at Hallis tomorrow. And, I think they were just waiting for him to come back before they went, balls to the wall, as Grady Jarrett puts it, with a full-on padded, long,
dynamic
practice. Johnsy's back, so they just go off of Johnsy's schedule. I think we learned that.
Listen, the Bears don't exist without Adam Johns. I don't know how we existed without him. Thank God we were able to get him.
We'll have a new episode of Hogan Johns tomorrow, by the way, when Johns is back. I think he'll also be popping on this show tomorrow as well. We are out of here. Don't miss tomorrow. We'll have it covered for you. It's going to be a big day at Hallis Hall. We'll talk to you then.
We all silly like the mayor.